What is going on, guys? Hunter Medusa here, bringing you guys a brand new video. Today we're going to be going over the top 2 champs to play within each lane in League of Legends. So these are going to be 2 champs that I think are going to give you the best chance to climb in your ranked journey. And one of those champions is going to be very easy to understand, very easy to play, and someone that you can pick up fairly easily. The other one is going to be someone that's a little more intricate and a little harder to understand at first glance. Now, I wanted to give kind of an easier one as well as a difficult one, so that those that are looking to just climb and aren't really looking to take the time into really learning how a new champion works, I wanted to give you guys an option. And maybe this isn't the strongest choice currently, but it is a champion that is always viable, a champion that will work really great with the team. So basically, just because this champion may not do the most damage or be the tankiest, this champion still is very viable within the current meta and where it stands. So with all of that being said and out of the way, let's jump into top lane. So with top lane, of course, for the easier champ, I have talked about Shen. Shen is one of the easiest champs to understand, and he's one of the easiest champs to farm with his Q ability. It makes it really easy, it makes last hitting really easy, and with his Stand United ult, he is able to provide a lot of utility for the team, being able to save some of your teammates or provide the extra support if you're trying to siege under tower or take the dragon. He is very strong. Now, the champion that I'm going to give as the second choice for top lane is a little controversial, but I'm going to say Fiora. With the current state that she's in within this meta, she is really strong. It's a very fighter-oriented meta, so maybe not so tanky, but she does really well with early kills, and she is one of the strongest duelists in the game next to Jax. Now, if you can really learn how to play Fiora and learn how she works, she is just absolutely busted. I promise you, if you really want to put the time into learning a new champion in top lane that will just dominate, Fiora will be your option. Now, with those being out of the way, let's move into jungle. Now, the one that I think is going to be the easiest for people to just pick up and be able to start playing, that's going to be Kayn. Now, Kayn may not be the easiest to understand, but his kit is very simple. He offers a very simplistic way of playing the game and being able to have the utility of going between Shadow Assassin and Rost. He really offers a lot of versatility within the team. You know, if your team is very tanky already, you can go with Shadow Assassin to provide the extra DPS that you may need. If your team is not as tanky as you'd like it to be, going Rost, offering the CC with his knockup and the immense amount of health regeneration that he has, he is a viable option. Moving into the more difficult champion, I'm going to kind of go with Kha'Zix. Now, Kha'Zix he's a very intricate champion. He's a champion that is very hard to play, especially in the lower elos without the communication between your team, because he is very early game reliant. He relies on getting early game kills. He relies on stealing enemies' jungle and getting into people's faces and just causing a ruckus. And I think that's why he is never really utilized properly, because people just try to farm to 6 so that they can start, you know, evolving with their abilities, and that's not how you play Kha'Zix. You need to be able to gank at level 1 or level 2 and be able to start that snowball rolling, so that once it does start rolling, you are more than able to snowball the game. I know I've said that 6 times, but I promise Kha'Zix is one of the stronger champions within this meta, and if you put in the time, it will happen for you, I promise. Okay, so now that that's out of the way, let's move to mid lane. Now, mid lane is going to be another controversial one, just because of the fact that all mages and all mid laners, you know, whether that be again mage or assassin, none of them are really truly easy to play, but there are some that are obviously more difficult to play and understand than some. So let's jump into the easier one. With this, I'm gonna say Fizz. Fizz is he's very similar to Shen. He's very simple. He's very easy to understand. You know that you've got an ability to escape. You know that you've got a dash, and with his ultimate, as long as you can hit your skill shots, it's pretty disruptive in a team fight, or it's pretty easy to set up a kill when it comes to 1v1ing in your lane. Now, he definitely does have a higher ceiling if you can learn how to play him properly and learn how to get to that next tier of gameplay. You can start to dominate with him, but again, this is just for somebody that maybe is looking for someone new to try in the meta, or is really struggling to climb and is looking for a new champion to try to carry them to that point that they're looking for. Now, the harder champ is, I'm gonna put Katarina in here, it's a very assassin reliant meta at the moment. I mean, Yasuo is really strong, Echo is really strong, Zed is really strong, Kat, Diana, all of these people are really strong, but I think Katarina offers the most utility and being able to solo kill her laner. She offers that ability, and she offers the ability to snowball early, and in, you know, even in the lower elos, maybe gold plat, if a Katarina gets fed and that Katarina knows what she's doing, she will absolutely decide the game. She can roam, she can steal jungle, and she will kill everything in her path. So Katarina definitely is going to be my pick when it comes to mid. I apologize about my dog barking upstairs. Let's just ignore it. So moving on to bottom. We're running out of time here. We're going to start picking things up. So bottom, I'm going to pick Jinx as the easier champ to play. She's very auto attack heavy, so there's not a lot of kit that you need to understand and learn how to play her to really utilize her. As long as you can hit your auto attacks, it's no problem. And with her rocket launcher being able to shoot further and further distances, the more you upgrade it, I mean, once you get a Ruin's Hurricane and an Infinity Edge, you will start snowballing. But the only downside with Jinx is that she is very late game oriented, and so if you're not able to get her snowballing and get her headed in that right direction in the early phases of the game, she does kind of fall off. So you need to make sure that you're farming properly, and you need to ensure that you're not dying and that you're doing the smart move when it comes to playing in the early game. And of course, there is always the ability or the skill ceiling of hitting her ult, but that just comes with practice, so you just kind of have to learn how to utilize that. So with the harder champ, we're going to go with Ezreal. Now, Ezreal is very complicated to play. I cannot stress that enough. He is so complicated. Most people think you just shoot out your mystic shot and you get kills, right? No. Unfortunately, with the recent changes and with how they kind of reworked Ezreal, he has gotten a little bit more harder to understand how to play, learning how to use the correct combos and when not to use your arcane shift. You know, there's a lot that goes into playing Ezreal specifically, but for right now, I'm just giving you guys the basics. So Jinx and Ezreal are going to be my two top picks within the bottom lane. Now, last but certainly not least, we're moving into support. Now, support is becoming a lot of, I mean, there's a lot of variety in the support field right now. You've got anybody from mages, you've got people like Senna that are just dealing crazy damage, Senna and Pyke, and you've got protectors like Blitzcrank in there. So for right now, with how this meta works, and with if you're, especially if you're trying to climb playing solo queue, I think Blitzcrank is going to be your #1 option. He is very easy to play, he's very easy to understand, and once you learn how to use him, I mean, and it takes one game to learn how to use Blitzcrank because he is so easy. But even at the lower ranks of bronze and silver, if you land a pull with Blitzcrank, even if you're team fighting or if you're fighting in your bot lane in the game just started, when you hit a pull, most people will go for it and they'll back you up for it. So you don't need that communication and you don't need that constant talk between your team. All you do, throw out a hook. If it lands, great, everybody goes in, you just got to pick, and now you're 5v4 or 2v1, whatever it may be. If you miss the pick, people back off, and that's kind of what you look for in being a support. Now, the harder support to learn how to play is going to be very similar to Blitzcrank, as in it's Thresh. Now, Thresh is kind of the same as Blitzcrank, and you throw out your hook. If you land somebody, great, your team will go in. Fantastic. But with Thresh, it's a little more difficult to understand when to actually engage if you land a pull and when not to engage if you land a pull, because with Thresh specifically, for those of you that don't know, his hook doesn't actually pull them all the way to Thresh. Thresh actually pulls himself to them, and then he's able to utilize his full kit. So just because you land a hook with Thresh doesn't mean that you should fully engage. You need to look for the right opportunity. You need to look for someone that's singled out. And if you manage to grab the ADC and you guys are trying to wait for one team or the other to instigate a fight, if you're able to land the ADC, you go in. If you hook a Malphite, you definitely do not go in. So with Thresh specifically, getting back on track, you need to learn how to use your Flay properly. You know, it's really difficult to, I mean, even his Lantern. It's hard to understand how his lantern works, when to use it, when not to use it. A lot of people don't know that his lantern actually offers a shield, so it can be used not just to save somebody, but to provide a shield if someone has ignite. You know, however he's utilized, it's a lot more in depth than Blitzcrank is. Anyway, guys, if you guys did enjoy the video, I would appreciate it if you would leave a like as well as a comment down below. It really helps me out. And hey, real quick, if you guys do want to see me kind of take a moment to deep dive into a certain champion, let me know down in the comments. I am more than happy to go deep dive, maybe 10 minutes into a specific champion that you guys have wanted to learn, or maybe that's a little difficult and you guys are looking for help on how to play this champion and how to use them properly. I am more than happy to do that. So if that's something you guys would like to see, just let me know. But anyway, guys, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. It really helps me out. With all that being said, thank you so much. Have a wonderful day, and thank you for joining the Stone Army.